Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Sarasvati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Okay, let us read the verses that we covered last time. We're going to read verses 6, 7, and I think we also read 8 last time. So let's read those 3 together. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmevatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvata jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamanayo jnana vijnana triptatma kutastho vijitendriyaha yukta ityuchyate yogi samaloštashma kanchanaha. Okay, so we are in chapter 6, and the thought flow was that from the beginning, Bhagavan Krishna said, those who have gone through karma yoga, they can make great meditators because it takes a lot of purity of mind to sit down and meditate. And therefore, in the beginning stages, karma yoga is prescribed for the arurukshu, those who want to climb and come to the path of meditation or come to the state of meditation. Those who are ready to come to the state of meditation, whose minds have matured, they now should slowly withdraw from actions, from worldly actions, because now their mind has to be absorbed in the self. Then Bhagavan Krishna says that there are 3 characteristics for this person who is Yogarudhah, who has climbed or who is able to climb to the state of meditation. The one whose sense organs don't wander or don't get excited anymore by the sense pleasures in the world. The one who's not attached to actions, who's not pursuing actions to gain any sort of joy from the world. And the one whose sankalpas have gone, who have no such idea that, yes, this world can fulfill me. That kind of mind is ready to climb up. And that kind of mind is called Yogarudhah. How do I get there? Verse number 5, Uddhared Atmanatmanam. One has to lift oneself by oneself. We have to put on a lot of self-effort to get to that state. And lift our minds to meet the higher ideals of the intellect. Once the intellect has been engaged in studying Shastra, then the challenge now is being able to live up to it. So the idea of lift oneself by oneself is being able to live to the convictions, to the ideals that my intellect is holding on to. Then he says that the mind can be the best friend or worst enemy. Which mind is the best friend? The mind that is under the intellect's control. That mind is the best friend. But the mind which is not under the intellect's control is the worst enemy. So we saw that the intellect is like the charioteer, and the mind is the reins, and the horses are the sense organs, and the roads are the sense objects. So when the intellect is able to control the mind, then the horses go well and they actually reach the goal. They go on the path. But when the intellect is not able to control the mind and the horses are loose, then we are in disarray. So therefore, for all these reasons, the mind should be mastered, because only when the mind is able to integrate with the intellect, then one is able to truly sit down and meditate and abide in this knowledge. When the mind and intellect are not integrated, they're speaking two separate rhythms, our personality is shattered and we will keep fighting battles within. I think I brought this up last time, thinking how many battles are we fighting? Mind versus intellect, right? So when we're fighting so much with ourselves, how can we be at peace? Then in verse number 7, which we also saw, is that why is this so important? Why is it so important? Further, he says, for the one who's jitatma, the one who's won over the body and senses, prashanta, for the one who is very cheerful. So two things. One is control or mastery over the body and senses. Two, one who's cheerful inside, not only outside, not like a fake smile, but also inside. That cheer in all pairs of opposites, whether it be cold and heat, whether it be joy and sorrow, whether it be honor or dishonor, the one who can maintain their mastery of the mind and equanimity and cheer, that person, paramatma samahita, to that person, the truth becomes very well placed. When we talk about pairs of opposites, I just read something from Gurudev, which is so interesting. He said that pairs of opposites are necessary because one cannot exist without the other, and they have the same seed. So if we look at a magnet, the North Pole and the South Pole, they have to be there, and that's called a magnet. And if you break the magnet, there will still be a North Pole and a South Pole. And if you take a tree, for example, the tree has the roots, the trunk, the leaves, the branches. It's the one tree, but there are certain parts of the tree that need to be exposed to light, like the leaves and the branches. But there's a certain part of the tree that doesn't need any light, like the roots. So it's one tree, but some part of it needs light, some part of it needs darkness. It's this one Paramatma, but that Paramatma appears as the creative force of Brahmaji, the sustaining force as Vishnuji, and the destructive force as Bhagavan Shivaji. So it's that one Paramatma that appears as two opposing forces, creation and destruction. So these opposing forces will always be there. We can't have just creation without destruction. The world will be in complete disarray. We will be overpopulated and not able to accommodate anyone. And it cannot also be in complete destruction, because then nobody will be able to create or bring life into this world, and everything will completely die out. So we can't be in a situation where one of the forces is in extreme. If one of the forces is in extreme, it will die. It will die in itself. When our lives are only filled with joy, what happens is we become weak. We become weak because we don't know how to face challenges. Therefore, in families, sometimes children are spoiled. right? They get everything they want. Then when they have to go out and face the real world, they shatter completely because they've had this coating of joy their whole lives. At the same time, when one has had extreme sorrow in their life, then they have no hope. There's no want to become better. They feel like, why should I become better? Why should I make a better life for myself when it's all sorrow anyway? So these things always go together. In a committee, there's always a force that wants to keep things the same way. But there's always a force that says, I want to change it. I want to change it, right? And it's great to have these two forces so that things become better. So this duality is inevitable. It's unavoidable, and it's also a blessing. Because if we had one extreme, realistically, we wouldn't be able to survive. So this person who's Yogarudhah, who's steadfast in yoga, is equanimous amidst all of these dualities, is able to remain in cheer. And remember what I told you last time, that if there's a small line of disturbance there, create a bigger line of gratitude, create a bigger line of positive forces. That much is required. This kind of Yogarudhah, who's mastered their mind, is now ready to absorb, abide, put their minds in the truth. What happens when they put their mind in the truth? What happens when one abides in the truth? What is that expression like? So now here we come to verse 8, which we read last time. This is the expression of this Yogarudhah, one who's climbed to yoga, means climbed to be able to meditate, in vyavahara, in transactional life of objects. What is this Yogarudhah? This person is Jnana Vijnana Triptatma, means one who is satisfied with knowledge and wisdom. So Jnana is knowledge, Vijnana is wisdom, Atma means who's that person, that being, who's satisfied with knowledge and wisdom. When we look at these two words, knowledge and wisdom, why are there two? Why not one? Why do we say Jnana and then we say Vijnana? And this comes again later in the Bhagavad Gita. The idea is, after Shravanam and Mananam, knowledge is gained. Because knowledge it takes place through a thought. Knowledge does not take place in meditation. Knowledge takes place through a thought. It is the removal of ignorance. So knowledge is the removal of ignorance. And how does knowledge take place? In Shravanam, when we are listening to the scriptures from the Guru Parampara, when we're listening single-pointedly, through the grace of the Guru Parampara, when we are able to ascertain the true meaning of the scriptures, that I am Atma, I am the self, not this body, mind, intellect, and in me, this whole world appears, that is called Shravanam. And that Shravanam requires grace. But it doesn't stop there. The next step, Mananam, is where we require a lot of self-effort. That's where, after leaving class, after leaving the lecture, the discourse, we now have to think for ourselves. Think deeply. Am I really convinced about this? Do I really believe that this is true? Is it a fact for me, or is it just faith? If it's faith, it's not knowledge. If it's faith, it's what's called paroksha jnana. Means it's not knowledge. It's just faith. It's just we're trusting the teacher. What we're looking for is aparoksha jnana, which is that kind of knowledge, which is a fact now for me. This is a fact that I am not the body, not the mind, not the intellect. I am Atma. This is a fact. And I'm so convinced about this fact that I'm never going to think about me being the body again. Imagine if someone put a whole meal in front and there was poison there. And somebody said, that is poison. Okay, that is poison. And then I examined it and I said, yes, this is poison. Now, will I eat it? No, definitely not, right? Now, what if there was a plate there and somebody said, that is poison, but I didn't really examine it for myself. I didn't really look at it for myself. Would I eat it? Maybe, right? So that is that Shravanam without Mananam, where we're not convinced. We're not sure. Yeah, they said that it's poison, but I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it. It couldn't be it. I'm not really sure. This is not knowledge. So when that Shravanam is coupled by a deep examination, deep conviction, deep inquiry, that somebody says, this is poison, and I examine it and I say, yes, this is poison, and therefore I'm not going to eat it. I'm not even going to touch it. That is knowledge. That's called Jnana. Jnana. So where we lack or fall short as seekers is in this process of Mananam. We fail to sit with this knowledge and think about it deeply. We fail to hold the thought and see if we really understand. And that's what we have to do. Instead of listening again and again and again, shut everything off. What have we actually understood? What have we actually understood? What have we come to realize? When we do that and sit and think by ourselves, that is Mananam. So Shravanam and Mananam make up Jnana. Now, after we become thoroughly convinced of this knowledge, when the Mananam is thorough, still our vasanas are so strong. And therefore, there exists these erroneous notions that I am the body. Sometimes it comes. Sometimes the surge of vasanas just come. I know I'm not the body, but sometimes it comes. I feel it. I know I'm not the mind, but sometimes I feel it. I know I'm not the ego, but sometimes I'm completely crushed. That's because our vasanas are buried deep inside. And so through the practice of Nididhyasana, which is what we are talking about in this chapter, one gains abidance in that knowledge. And these erroneous notions are removed. These vasanas of I am the body, mind, I am the ego, they are removed because they're so deeply entrenched. Those vasanas won't go by Shravanam and Mananam. They won't go by that. Those vasanas need another vasana. And when we meditate or through the process of Nididhyasana, we are creating a contrary vasana. So while my vasana is I am the body in Nididhyasana, I am not the body. While my vasana is I am the mind, in Nididhyasana, I am not the mind. And when these contrary vasanas are created, then they are strong enough to overpower our wrong or contrary vasanas, the negative ones, that I am the body, I am the mind. When I am not the body, I am not the mind, when that becomes so incredibly strong, that can overpower the previous vasana. So this is Vijnana. When one has gained now abidance in the knowledge, that is called Vijnana. So Jnana, Vijnana. Vijnana means like Vishesha Jnana, like that Jnana, which is not that knowledge, which is now manifest in my daily living. Jnana, Vijnana. And this person is Tript Atma. Tripta means somebody who's content. Atma here means this person, mind, who's content in knowledge and abidance. And remember, enlightenment, when we talk about enlightenment or Jivan Mukti is not knowledge, it is knowledge and abidance. So knowledge plus abidance is enlightenment, right? This person is content because of that. So while we at some point in time might be content in going out in the world and pursuing all of the objects in the world and going through all of our experiences, while that for us may be our method of being content, this being's contentment lies in their knowledge and abidance. So Jnana, Vijnana, Triptatma. Kutastaha. Kutastaha means here the one who is unshaken. Unshaken. Nothing can shake this person. This person is sthira, is steady, like an anvil. An anvil has so many pieces of iron being put on it and it gets hammered. But this person still, no matter what happens, stays steady. By pairs of opposites, by everything that's happening outside. Kutastha, unshaken. Vijitendriya. Vijitendriya here means not only one who has conquered the senses. Vijita means one who has conquered indriya, the senses, and the mind. Mind is also the inner equipment. It is also somebody who's able to live above their likes and dislikes. Sometimes in our life, we don't like to do things because, we want to avoid them. We want to avoid them because they're hard, they're challenging, or we just don't want to work with that person, or we are hesitant. There's certain things we just don't like to do. And there's certain things which we really like to do. And we say, yes, I won't do all of that, but I'll do that. So some things we really don't like to do and some things that we like to do. Now, this person has risen over the likes and dislikes, the raga and dvesha. Do what has to be done. Right? If we keep attaching ourselves to likes and dislikes and only do what we like and stay away from what we dislike, our minds will be heavily disturbed. Because remember, in life, what we don't like comes in front of us. And what we like runs away from us. This is life. So one who's able to rise above these likes and dislikes and does what has to be done because it has to be done. Jitendriya. Yukta. Yukta, again, this yogi that we're talking about is yukta, meaning the mind and intellect are integrated. Yukta means integrated. Iti, uchate yogi, means this yogi is called one who is integrated. And how does this yogi see the world? Sama, loshta, ashva, kanchana. Sees the same in sama, means the same. Loshta means a lump of earth. Ashma means a stone. And kanchana means gold. So the one who sees the same in clod of mud, in a stone, in gold. The idea here is things for us seem to increase or decrease our value. For example, take gold. When somebody buys a gold bracelet or necklace, let's say, they want to wear it in a place where everybody can see it, right? They want to wear it in a place where everybody can see it. And if everybody compliments it and says, wow, look at that gold necklace, how wonderful, then we get boosted, right? We're like, wow, I'm so great that I have this gold necklace and everyone is looking at me. But let us say that we are out in a party and everyone has, real gold. I have fake gold. So what do? Instead of putting my necklace out, I put it in. Because if people find out that I have fake gold, then, it makes me feel low. It makes me feel insecure. Everybody else has real gold. I am wearing only fake gold. Or somebody has a real Rolex watch. So what will happen? They'll roll up their sleeves and the watch will be seen because it's a real Rolex watch. So everybody should see it. But if it's a fake watch, it's going to be covered by that suit, right? Because it's fake. Nobody should know that my watch is fake. Why? Because if it's real, I feel good. It makes me feel good. But if it's fake, what will people say? Huh? They might think that, what kind of person am I? When we go to a party and somebody has a really, really nice car, they don't mind driving up all the way to the entrance because everybody should see the car. What a wonderful car. The doors open in a certain way or whatever it is, a nice, nice color. And it's totally okay because when people compliment the car, we feel like really, really good. That's my car. Everybody's looking at it. We feel great. But if somebody has a really old car, they'll park like 2 blocks away and then walk to the party because they don't want anyone to see their car. It's so incredibly old, isn't it? What if people see it? So this is a reality. This is a reality that objects, how much inert they are. They're inert. They have no life in them, but they can actually make us feel great about ourselves, like we are better, we are fuller because we have a nice car or a gold chain or a gold watch, or they can make us feel so insecure that, oh no, we don't have a gold chain or a nice car. So the objects, even if there's no life, they seem to be able to increase or decrease our value. But with this yogi, it doesn't matter. These objects don't matter because they don't increase their value. That yogi is ever full. He or she is ever full. Already jnana, vijnana, triptatma, already content. The objects cannot increase them or decrease them because they're already full. So it doesn't really matter. They don't feel good or they don't feel worse. They're not trying to show off. They're not trying to hide. They just use whatever they have to use for whatever purpose. It doesn't really matter. It's not something that's going to increase their contentment or decrease their contentment because they are purna. And sometimes they have so much vairagya that we just wonder, how have they come to be? We hear of Swami Vidyaranyaji. He was in the forest, and passing by, there was a king with his people, and they were carrying a carriage of gold blocks. And they counted, they must have had about 100 gold blocks or whatever. And one of the gold blocks fell. Now, Swami Vidyaranyaji was walking, and he saw one of the gold blocks. And he said, oh, okay, this is useful. Why? Because actually, a little further, he had to go to the toilet. And there was only one brick there. And he needed 2 bricks to go to the toilet, to squat. So he said, okay, great. I'll take this gold brick and I'll use it. And he put it there and he did his thing and he left. And he just left the gold brick there. And oh my gosh, and the king's people recognized that one block was missing. There's only 99. And so they went back, they retraced their footsteps back, and they were so shocked to see where the gold was, that the gold brick was left there and somebody had gone to a toilet. And they just couldn't figure out who this person was. You see, just completely just let it go. We also hear of Avurai Akal from Shenkotai. She was a great woman saint, and she had so much dispassion. And one of the kings wanted to test her dispassion. And so she used to do a puja to a Shivalinga. And she used to offer, water, leaves, etc. So one time the king gave her golden leaves to offer. And he wanted to know what she would do with it, because usually she would offer all of these things to the Shivalinga. Then all of the leaves or whatever would go into the water. So the king said, let me give her gold leaves. Let's test her purity. And so she had the Shivalinga, she worshipped the Shivalinga. And sure enough, those gold leaves, she also threw it in the water. And she left. So with these yogis, there is no such up and down with these material objects. They use it for what it's worth, and then they let it go. There's no such hankering to keep them, or even hankering to let them go. If they're there, they're there. And if not, they're not there. So in this way, samaloshtashma kanchana, nothing can increase or decrease their value. Now, we come to here, their relationships now with people. So they see sameness in objects, and they see sameness in people. One more deeper point here of sameness in objects, from the highest standpoint, is all not an appearance in Brahman, right? Everything is just an appearance in Brahman. We might feel like there are multiple names and forms in this universe, but they're all that one Brahman. They're all that one Brahman. We saw in Chandogya Upanishad, Vacharambhadam Vikaro Namadheyam Mrittika Ityeva Satyam. Means that one clod of earth, right? One clay. Clay can appear as a pitcher, as a pot, as a cup. It can appear as three different things: a pitcher, a pot, and a cup. But in reality, it's only clay. When the clay becomes a pitcher, it's a new name and a new form. So maybe this big. When a clay becomes a cup, it's a new name and a new form. Maybe this little. When a clay becomes a pot, maybe it's shaped like this, new form and new name. So when it becomes a pot, a pitcher, a cup, it has new names, it has new forms, but please note, it's not a new substance. It's still clay. It's clay alone. Because if you remove the clay from the pot, there's no pot. You remove the clay from the pitcher, there's no pitcher. You remove the clay from the cup, there is no cup. So even if there's many names and many forms of one thing, it's really only one substance. Mrittika iti eva satyam. It is just clay. So from the highest standpoint, when they understand, when one realizes that everything is just that pure consciousness, all of these are just appearances in it. One doesn't feel attracted to it, nor, totally put off by it. It is just an appearance and can be used or should be used as its purpose. Now, let us see verse number 9. Suhrin mitraryudasina.
Suhrin mitraryudasinam.
Madhyasthadvesha bandhushu.
Madhyasthadveshya bandhushu.
Sadhushvapi cha papeshu.
Sadhushvapi cha papeshu.
Samabuddhirvishishyate.
Samabuddhirvishishyate.
Suhrin mitraryudasina. madhyasthadvesha bandhushu sadhushvapi cha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. So here we have 9 relationships. 9 relationships. Suhrin, friend, or good, Suhrin rather, good-hearted. Suhrin, good-hearted. Mitra, friend. Ari, Ari means enemies. Udasina, Udasina, somebody who's indifferent. Madhyastha, Madhyastha means somebody who's in the middle, and I'll explain each one. Dveshya, one who's hating, who has the nature of hate. Bandhu, the ones who are relatives. Sadhushu, though in the righteous. Apicha, and also papeshu, in the unrighteous. Samabuddhi vishishyate, the one who has equal mind excels. Okay, so here this yogi now is described also as the one who sees that oneness in all beings. So the same way sees that oneness in all objects, in the previous verse, now sees that oneness in all beings. And again, from the highest standpoint, keep the clay example in mind. It is just that one Brahman, one truth, appearing as various names and forms, but it's the same substance. So what are these relationships that we have? Suhrit. Suhrit means somebody who wishes well for us, a well-wisher. So sometimes we have people who don't really know us, but they help us. You know, like somebody helps us carry a bag. Somebody opens the door for us. Or somebody just, smiles at us, gives us way when we need way. When you're driving, somebody lets you go. That's called suhrit. They don't know you, but they wish well. They wish us well. Mitra. Mitra is a friend. So somebody who we know, who's a dear friend to us. There's an interesting description of a friend in Sri Ramcharitmanas. The one who takes their problems to be very, very small, like dust, but takes their friends' problems to be like a big mountain. That's called a friend. The one who takes their problems to be so, so small, but their friend's problem to be like a mountain, and is able to sit and listen to their friend. Not the one who keeps raving about their problems, and not even listening to the friend. Mitra. Ari. Ari means, Ari here is the one who creates trouble. Ari is the one who creates trouble, who is like an enemy. So here, Shatruhu, enemy, Ari. Then we have somebody who's Udasina. Udasina, again, Uttasina, the one who sits above. So how many we have now? 4 relationships. The one who doesn't interfere with anything, just like a witness there, doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything, doesn't take any sides, just stays there. Udasina. And then we have Madhyastha. Madhyastha means the one who's in the middle of 2 sides, but wants to harmonize them. So whereas Udasina is completely neutral, doesn't take part. And in a family, we have all of these things. We have somebody who's completely doesn't interfere. I'm not interfering. But we also have Madhyastha, the one who's in between the two and wants to bring harmony. Madhyastha. Then we also have Dvesha. Dvesha is the one who somebody has hatred towards us, or somebody who hates. That's called Dvesha. Atmanaha apriya. Then Bandhu. Bandhu means relative. Our relatives, our families, our cousins, relatives. Once Guruji said a very beautiful thing. He said, they are called relatives because they are relative. Don't forget that. So Bandhu. Then Sadhu. Sadhu means those who follow the scriptures and lead a life according to that. That's called sadhu. And papeshu, those who are actually papi, those who do not follow the scriptures, those who do what is contrary to the scriptures, those are called papi. So in life, we have all of these kinds of people. There are some who are well-wishers, some friends, some inimical. Inimical means not that maybe we have such thought for them, but maybe they have that thought for us. Some who are just completely, they don't interfere with anything. Some who want to create harmony. They're always about harmonizing people. And somebody who there's utter hate, has utter hate. And our relatives, our good sadhus, and also those papis. So amidst these people, this yogi is able to see the similarity. From the highest standpoint, why? It is that pure awareness appearing as all of these people. That one consciousness appearing as all names and forms. From a devotional standpoint, it is all names and forms of Bhagavan only. And we need all of these kinds of people in our lives. We need that. We need somebody who's our well-wisher, because we need someone to encourage us and to inspire us. We need that. So we see that as a form of God. We need friends. Everybody needs friends, people who they can count on, they can speak to, who they can, get along with. We also need somebody who's on the opposing side of us. We need somebody who's opposite to us because they make us better. One Swamiji always told me, he said, wherever you are, make sure that there's one person who's always criticizing you, and make sure that person is near you. Because we become better. We become better when there is somebody who also opposes. We become stronger. So we also need that force. And we see that as Bhagavan. We need also those people who are completely non-interfering, because they teach us how to stay balanced. We need those people who interfere, because when we are going through hardships with somebody else, we need some people to come in between. So we see that also as Bhagavan. We need people also who maybe might totally dislike us, totally might not like us, so that we know how to grow and become better. We need families and relatives, so that we have comfort. We have that atmosphere full of love and care and nurturing. We need great sadhus, so that we know where to go and how to walk the path. And we need also those who are not sadhus, so we know what to avoid on the path, how not to be. So we need examples of how to be, but we also need examples of how not to be. So for another level, this is a great way to see that in all forms of people is God, is Bhagavan, and we need these kinds of people in our lives for us to truly evolve from a devotional step. Now, from a very practical standpoint, Adi Shankaracharya ji has this beautiful phrase here in the Bhasha. I will read it too, and then I'll explain it. It says, Kaha kim karma iti avyaprita buddhihi. He says, Kaha kim karma. Who is doing what action? Avyaprita buddhihi. Keep an unengaged mind. Keep your mind unengaged in it. Stop wondering about why this person is acting that way, why that person is acting that way, who's doing this and who's doing that, and what are they doing with their lives, and why aren't they going this way, why are they going that way. Stop being preoccupied about other people. Ka kim iti avyaprita buddhi. Stop being preoccupied with other people. Stop interfering unnecessarily in other people's lives. Let them do their own thing and let them be. Because in reality, everybody has their own journey. We cannot force anybody. Sometimes we wonder why this person is not coming to Vedanta satsang. Huh? How come that they're not coming to Vedanta? How come they're not learning this knowledge? What's the big deal? Don't force. They will come at their own time. I was in Flint this weekend, so I had told them that it's really an irony that in Sandipani Sadhanalaya, where we have this Vedanta 2-year Vedanta course in Mumbai, the people around don't even walk into the ashram. But yet we have somebody from France, a French person, he comes to study. A person from Russia, she came to study. All the way from France and Russia and even Belgium, we had people come to study. But the people in the ashram, around the ashram, didn't even walk inside. So we can't force anybody on this path. They will come on their own. So stop thinking and wondering, why aren't they coming? The more we pull them and force them, the more they'll go away. And stop trying to also change them, because everybody has their prakriti. Now, everybody has tried to change their spouse or their children, right? Did it work? No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because we cannot change anyone. Just as salt will always be salty, sugar will always be sweet. Everybody has their own prakriti. They have their own nature. So let them be the way they are. Stop trying to change them. And stop trying to wonder why they're not doing this, why they're doing this, where are they going, where are they not going. Focus on our own path. This journey is within. It's not for us to unnecessarily pay attention to what everyone's doing. One common question comes up is that, I do all the work. I do all the work and this other person doesn't do anything at all. So therefore, I need to say something. I need to interfere. The answer is, you want enlightenment, you do the work, right? If we want moksha, if we want enlightenment, then we do the work, because we know that this is a way to purify our mind and stay on the path. So Adi Shankaracharya ji gives such a practical explanation, say, Kaha kim karma iti avyaprata buddhi, means do not even go and meddle in other people's business. Turn within and stay there. When people are ready, they will come. When people are ready to change, they will change. The only thing we can do is change ourselves. Samabuddhir vishishyate. Now, I was also thinking about the life of Bhagavan Rama, because a question might come that when we see oneness in all of these beings, does it mean that we act the same way with all of them? The answer is no. So as I said, from the highest standpoint, we see that they all pure awareness, expressing as manifest names and forms. From the devotional standpoint, they are all Bhagavan only, coming to make me better and grow and evolve. But also, if we look at from the yogi standpoint, they see that oneness, but they interact according to what they need to do. So, looking at the life of Sri Rama, Suhrit, his dear well-wisher was Jatayu. Jatayu the bird. When Sita Devi was taken by Ravana, Jatayu saw that. And immediately, knowing that he would not be able to defeat Ravana, he said, let me at least stop Ravana. And he went there on, Ravana's airplane, whatever his vimana was, and he tried to stop Ravana, tried to buy time so that hopefully Sri Rama would come soon. So Jatayu there was a complete well-wisher. He just jumped in to help. And Sri Rama treated him with so much love that in Jatayu's last breath, he was lying in Sri Rama's arms. Mitra, Sugriva. Sugriva was the friend of Sri Rama. And They met each other, and Sugriva needed help. A friend in need is a friend indeed, right? Sugriva needed help with Vali, but Sri Rama also needed a host of vasanas to help guide Sita Devi. And so they both formed a pact of friendship. But when Sugriva forgot about his duties, Sri Rama sent Lakshmana to warn him and to remind him. So it's not that he was just all softy. He actually did what he had to do. Ari, Ravana sent Khara and Dushana to defeat Rama. And Sri Rama fought so well, so bravely against these people who were his enemies. Now, the point to note is Sri Rama never felt inimical towards them. He never felt hatred towards them. And that's the beauty. He saw that oneness in them, but he had to do what he had to do without any such hatred, with just pure love and compassion. Then we see Madhyastha. Madhyastha means somebody who was in between, trying to create harmony. In Sri Rama's life, that was Vibhishanji. Vibhishan was trying to convince Ravana to stop all of this because he would definitely lose. But Ravana didn't listen. He kicked Vibhishana. And so Vibhishana went to the other side to Sri Rama, and Sri Rama then accepted him. Even if the other Vanaras said, don't accept Vibhishan because he's a spy, he's the brother of Ravana, Sri Rama said, those who surrender to me, I will be sure to accept them, no matter who they are. Sri Rama took Vibhishan under his wing. So Madhyastha. Then Dvesha. Ravana didn't like Sri Rama at all. Didn't like Sri Rama at all. And he thought about Sri Rama so much that, as I said, when we dislike somebody, we think about them so much more. So Ravana actually thought one of the most about Rama. He thought about Rama probably more times. Sita Devi, of course, thought about Sri Rama, but Ravana also thought about, Sri Rama. He had all these thoughts of dislike. But Sri Rama never disliked him. He never fought out of hatred. He just did what he had to do. And in Valmiki Ramayana, it even says that at one point in the battle, Sri Rama looks at Ravana and says, Ravana, you're tired today. You want to fight tomorrow? It's so much compassion. It's so much compassion for Ravana. Then Bandhu. Of course, we know Sri Rama's relationship with his family, with his brothers, particularly with Bharata. How he gave Bharata the Padukas to rule the kingdom. And how he left and he let Bharata rule. And sadhus. When Sri Rama was in the forest, there were so many people, so many people who he met, so many sadhus. He sat with them for satsang, he served them, he sought their advice, he spent time with them. And in fact, he was so happy that he got to be in the forest, to be in their company. And then Papi is like Vali, who had committed something against Sugriva. He had erred against Sugriva. And so Sri Rama defeated Vali. So it's not that they don't do what needs to be done. They do it, but maintaining that love, that compassion for all beings. And the only thing in their mind is, how best will this being evolve? So if this person needs to be defeated to evolve to the higher, then they must be defeated. If this person needs to be criticized to evolve to the higher, they must be criticized. If this person needs to be loved to evolve to the higher, then they need to be loved. So in this way, sama buddhihi vishishyate. They have that sameness. And in that sameness, they excel because they're able to see that. Many of us aren't. So now I'm just going to summarize with a few minutes that we have remaining, what we've done today. Today we focused on how the yogi really is in the transactional play. And the 2 points of focus were verses 8 and 9. Verses 8, where we see the yogi is seeing that sameness in all objects. Verse 9, seeing that sameness in all people. Why is the yogi able to see that? Because they're already content. Through their knowledge and wisdom, meaning through their abidance in the self, they are able to see that oneness, because nothing can increase their value or decrease their value. Be it gold, be it money, be it material objects, it doesn't really matter to them, because this doesn't increase or decrease who they are. And they use the objects as they're required, because from the highest standpoint, they realize this is just that one truth appearing as many. And this yogi, in verse 8, we saw is unshaken, unshakable, and beyond likes and dislikes. And in verse 9, we saw that various relationships are there that we can have in the world. And again, this is an appearance of many names and forms of consciousness. These are forms of Bhagavan, which are trying to help us grow and become better. And also, as a seeker, we shouldn't be too concerned about what people are doing, where they're going, why they're doing all of that. Just focus on our own journey. And as we change, everything around us also changes. And seeing oneness and sameness in all doesn't mean that we don't transact with people as we require. It just means that we keep that oneness on top amidst the differences and interact the way we need to. So we will stop here. Next week, then Sri Krishna starts on the whole process of meditation. So now we have a clear picture of the meditator and what the meditator is expression is like in the world. Now, how to actually practice this. The next set of verses will reveal this. We'll say the closing prayer. I have a few announcements, and then if anyone has questions, things they want to share, please stay back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.